You're not wanted here, so get lost already." Alex, my boss, said this with a sneering grin. Today was the day of the company trip. Alex was supposed to hand out the tickets at the airport, our meeting place. Yet, on the day itself, suddenly there was no ticket for me. It wasn't a mistake in the arrangement. It seems my ticket was deliberately not prepared. All the other employees had gone to the boarding gate, leaving just me and Alex. Alex seemed to enjoy watching me struggle without a ticket. I had been looking forward to this for over a month, and this treatment was just too cruel. "You weren't worth the ticket, so I did you a favor by not getting one." Wait a minute, you're saying I'm left behind by myself. Rather, you should be grateful that you can see me off. In this situation, I wonder where the element of gratitude towards him could possibly be. Alex, as if to say my confusion was the greatest entertainment in the world, showed a brimming smile. It was incredibly infuriating. "That's how it is, so I'm off to enjoy France. See you." "Alex, wait a minute." Ignoring my call, Alex disappeared towards the boarding gate. I was the only one left at the meeting place. I never imagined I would be harassed even on a company trip. No, perhaps it's because my poor thinking. Alex is a man who do anything mean when it comes to making me feel bad. I should have anticipated something like this could happen. I regretted the poorness of my ability to predict. I can't just give up and go home. Actually, I had an important matter to attend to in France. I cannot give up what I need to do because of the interference of such a vulgar person. I immediately started to take action. I refused to let this be the end of it. My heart was burning for revenge against Alex. My name is Brian, a 29-year-old office worker. It's been about half a year since I transferred to this company. To say it myself, I have a serious attitude towards work. I never compromise on the tasks I take on. If I just finish it off thinking this is good enough, I can't be at peace. I'm not a perfectionist, but there isn't a single job I finish without being satisfied with myself. In that manner, I spent my days working hard on the tasks at hand. In today's world, my serious attitude seems rare, and it seemed to inspire the other employees to get motivated. They accepted me right away and were actively cooperative in work. It was a grateful situation. To meet the expectations around me, I worked even harder. There's a senior who says the workplace has become lively since I joined. When someone says that, it just makes me even more motivated. At first glance, it might seem like a very fortunate work environment. However, there was one exception. My boss, Alex. Alex is someone who quickly wants to look down on people who seem superior. It's common to look down on people who are worse off, but Alex was the opposite. It was the so-called jealousy. His pride was unnecessarily high, and he couldn't stand anyone being better than him. I could tolerate it if Alex simply didn't like me deep down, as long as it was just to that extent. After all, it's something I can just ignore. However, Alex directly carried out one harassment after another against me. For instance, when my senior, Michael, invited me to dinner after work. The moment I stood up to leave the office, Alex called out to me, "Hey, Brian, where do you think you're going?" "I'm leaving because work is done." "What? Are you an idiot? Think about the company as a whole, not just yourself." Alex said this and let out an exaggerated sigh as if to show off. I couldn't grasp the intent behind his words and was left bewildered. "I've still got work left. You should have sensed that and acted accordingly." Alex grabbed a stack of documents on his desk and showed them to me. It was troubling to hear that, and it wasn't my responsibility, but... "You were invited to dinner by Michael, right? I heard you talking about it earlier." "So what if I was?" It's not so what? As your superior, I have work left, so you, as my subordinate, should take the initiative to take it on. But I have a date with a girl I met on a dating app later. Alex said this and pushed the stack of documents onto me. The generous me will even contact Michael to cancel for you. Wait a minute, isn't this a bit too one-sided? That's how it is in a company. Alex said this and slammed my desk hard. The remaining people in the department were startled by the noise. At the edge of whether I can get a girlfriend or not, don't you dare go off to dinner with a colleague all carefree. Though I wanted to say it wasn't my business, I couldn't because of my position and ended up staying at work, explaining the situation to Michael. Pray that I can get a girlfriend. Alex said this with a malicious smile. Like this, Alex's insidious harassment against me continued as if it were a part of daily life. He would forcefully make it my responsibility for almost unrelated matters and lash out at me. And when he did, it was always in front of other employees. Just because you're a bit good at your job, your frivolous attitude is spreading around. It was an accusation that could not be more false. I don't recall ever getting frivolous, and there's no one around me who's affected. It was clear he just wanted to embarrass me. For Alex, who has the goal of looking down on others, whether it's unreasonable or not doesn't matter. Though he's in a supervisory position, he was nothing but a hindrance to the work. The harassment continued daily, but it wasn't particularly upsetting. Because I have many trustworthy colleagues. I even think it's a waste to expend real energy on anger towards someone like Alex. Despite the interference from his harassment, I could still achieve results at work. Each time, Alex would explode with anger towards me, but I ignored it. Then one day, it was decided that we would go to France for a company trip. It seemed like it was the first time abroad for a few people, and the workplace was excited. However, there was one slight worry. The person entrusted with the flight reservation was Alex. Well, surely even he wouldn't harass someone during a company trip. That's what I thought, but my worries were confirmed. On the day of the trip, I woke up earlier than planned. It seems I was looking forward to going to France more than I thought. I couldn't sleep the night before, just like a grade schooler excited about a field trip. Holding my travel bag, I headed to the airport with high spirits. Upon arriving at the meeting spot, I greeted my colleagues. Everyone was excited, and it made me happy to feel their excitement. I'm going to distribute the tickets shortly, so make sure you don't lose them. Alex started handing out the tickets one by one. My colleagues and senior supervisors were completing their boarding procedures one after the other. I waited for my turn with excitement. However, Alex was not giving me my ticket. Eventually, all the other employees had completed their boarding procedures, leaving me behind. Was this harassment intended to make me feel anxious? As I was wondering this, Alex pointed at me with a sneer. "What are you still doing here?" You're not invited, so get lost." I was at a loss for words, not understanding his intention. I can't understand what's going on at all. Why am I being told to go home when I've just arrived at the meeting place and we're about to depart? I glared at Alex, unable to accept the situation. "You weren't worth the ticket, so I didn't get one for you." Wait a minute. Are you saying I'm being left behind? Rather, you should be grateful that you can see me off. There is nothing to appreciate towards Alex in this situation. Alex seemed pleased, as if my confusion was the greatest entertainment in the world. That's how it is, so I'm off to enjoy France. Bye. Alex, wait. Ignoring my call, Alex disappeared towards the boarding gate. I was the only one left at the meeting place. I never imagined I would be subjected to harassment even on a company trip. Perhaps I should have been more careful about that. Alex is a man who do anything mean when it comes to making me feel miserable. I should have anticipated something like this. I regretted my lack of foresight. I couldn't just give up and go home. Actually, I had an unavoidable matter to attend to in France. Therefore, I had no choice but to secure a flight ticket on my own. I chased after the employees who had gone ahead and flew to France. Due to the time it took to secure a ticket on my own, I missed the first day's itinerary of the company trip. On the other hand, Alex, the organizer, arrived at the destination's luxury hotel with the employees. A social gathering was to be held at one of the local letting accommodation facilities. As organizer, Alex led the employees to check-in. Hearing that the hotel staff could speak English, Alex approached with confidence. I had a reservation under Alex. To which the hotel staff replied unexpectedly, "Where is the owner?" "The owner? What are you talking about?" Alex was confused by the sudden mention of the owner. Then, the hotel staff made a shocking statement. "If the owner is not present, the accommodation fee will be $50,000. What's that about? That's way too expensive." Shocked by the unexpected high accommodation cost, Alex protested to the hotel staff. However, no matter how much he appealed, the hotel staff wouldn't nod in agreement. The employees waiting behind him were puzzled, wondering what was going on. As Alex turned pale, not knowing what to do, I finally arrived at the hotel. My late arrival seemed less significant compared to the issue of the accommodation cost. I spoke to the hotel staff in French, who had been talking with Alex. The staff responded to me in French with a pleasant smile. Alex couldn't understand a word of what the hotel staff and I were talking. Then, the hotel staff addressed Alex in English. "We will not charge you for the accommodation. Please, this way." This situation took a 180-degree turn from what was said earlier, leaving Alex dumbfounded. It was unclear what happened, but if we didn't have to pay, it was a stroke of luck. Despite the unexpected trouble, Alex decided not to dwell on it. Thus, I made it in time for the social gathering and successfully joined everyone from the company. My colleagues were happy to see me, having arrived late. Of course, Alex was the exception. Having resolved the earlier trouble with the hotel staff, he returned to his usual condescending attitude. "Why is the person who was supposed to see us off here? I bought a ticket." You came here on your own." "I had no choice since you didn't arrange one for me, right?" "Why would I arrange a ticket for someone like you? Don't get cocky." I had to suppress the urge to tell him who was really being cocky. How long will this person continue with such childish behavior? I mean, it's pretty bold of you to show up here, aren't you embarrassed? Alex said this, seeking agreement from the other employees. Everyone looked uncomfortable. Alex was the only one who didn't notice. There's nothing embarrassing about being part of this company. You must have been so full of yourself, thinking you'd get a ticket. Shame on you. Shame on me. I wanted to throw those words right back at him. You wouldn't want to show incompetence to the next company president, would you? Yes, this social gathering was about to unveil a big event, the announcement of the company's next president. Man, I can't wait to see what kind of person the new president is. Alex seemed quite drunk, slurring his words. He was always loud, but today was especially unbearable. I'll get on great terms with the next president and get promoted. It was unclear where such confidence came from. Tired of responding, I moved away from Alex. After some time of mingling, the main event was about to start. James, current president, began his speech. This was the lead up to the announcement of the new president. James's speech was serious but interspersed with just the right amount of humor. Everyone in the room was looking forward to the announcement of the new president. After finishing his speech, James took a deep breath and began to speak. The new president will be him. With those words, the lights in the room were dimmed. The sudden darkness stirred the crowd, but then a spotlight was turned on. "It's you, Brian." Yes, the spotlight was on no one else but me. I confidently stood up and made my way to the stage. Alex's previously cocky demeanor had vanished. He turned ghostly pale, with his mouth hanging open. No wonder he was surprised. He could never have imagined that the new president would be a younger subordinate like me. Then, James revealed even more surprising facts to Alex. Brian is also the owner of this hotel and a very capable businessman. What? The news of my becoming the next president was shocking enough, but this revelation sent an even bigger shockwave through the room. Indeed, the owner that the hotel staff had asked Alex about earlier was me. Let me explain how I came to be chosen as the new president. I am currently the owner of this hotel, but it was previously owned by my father. I grew up as the son of a luxury hotel owner, living a life without any difficulties. James, who often stayed at our hotel, became personally acquainted with my father and developed a relationship over time. James became personally close with my father, building a rapport over time. Amidst this, my father introduced me to James. He recommended me as a successor to James, who was in search of one. It seems my father had long recognized my potential as a businessman. Afterward, I succeeded my father as the owner of the hotel. Around that time, I received an invitation from James to join our company. And surprisingly, he wanted to entrust me with the position of president right away. Receiving an offer from James of the current company filled me with gratitude. However, I couldn't become the president without properly understanding the company. With that in mind, I made a suggestion. I would like to start as an ordinary employee first. Some might find it strange to refuse a prepared seat as president. But given my nature, it would feel uncomfortable to be in a high position without understanding the company. Considering this, I decided to work as an ordinary employee for a while. Despite the unexpected proposal, James readily agreed. Disliking special treatment, I joined the company without revealing to the other employees that I was the next president. Now, James had asked me to take over as his successor. I had more than enough understanding of the company's philosophy and workplace atmosphere. From an ordinary employee to the next president might seem like an abnormal promotion to others. In the buzzing venue, I took the microphone from James. "I am Brian, newly appointed as president." My colleagues and seniors, who had respected me, applauded with surprised expressions. The only one who remained motionless was Alex. Standing still as if time had stopped, with his mouth wide open. I continued speaking while looking at Alex's face. "I have been subjected to various harassments by my superior, Alex." Yeah. He must not have expected his name to be mentioned. Alex finally showed a reaction. Unperturbed, I went on to reveal all the mistreatment Alex had subjected me to. Being forced to take on work unfairly, being yelled at for irrational reasons, and how he deliberately didn't secure a ticket for me to go to France this time. Many in the room were aware of these incidents. However, the information hadn't reached the upper management, and some were surprised to hear about these events. After giving a thorough explanation, I concluded with my final words. I aim to make this a company where no one suffers from such experiences. A few seconds after I spoke, thunderous applause filled the venue. Everyone clapping cast cold glances at Alex. "No, but that was." Stammering, Alex tried to come up with an excuse. However, there was no one in the venue willing to take his side. Alex, if you have any rebuttals, please feel free to speak up. Well, that was just a bit of fun, sort of. Are you saying it was all just pranks or play? No, I wouldn't go that far, but... I was looking straight at Alex, but he couldn't meet my gaze and his eyes wandered. You mentioned earlier about getting on good terms with the new president for a promotion. Were you serious? That was a joke, kind of. I'd like to know on what basis you think you can build a friendly relationship with me after all the harassment. Well, you know, life is unpredictable. Alex continued with excuses that didn't hold up, sweating profusely. I simply glared at him in silence as he spoke. Initially, Alex continued with nonsensical excuses, but gradually, he began to speak less and less. Eventually, Alex lost all his words and fell into a state of panic. Suddenly, he crouched down, holding his head, and then stood up abruptly. Wow! With a strange yell, Alex ran out of the venue. He couldn't bear the situation and atmosphere any longer. Everyone in the venue was stunned, but it only took about 5 seconds to return to the initial state. The venue became lively again as if Alex had never existed. Then, James took the microphone and offered a toast. It was for me, the incoming president. There was no need to worry about someone like Alex anymore. Not just me, but everyone else must have felt the same. That day, I received more congratulations than ever in my life. I was made to drink so much beer that I was thoroughly drunk and barely remembered anything. The fact that everyone around me was happy about my appointment as president made me happy. I am aware that I am too young to be a president. Even so, I have confidence that I have put in as much effort as anyone else. Seeing my colleagues celebrating as if it were their own achievement, I was sure that my efforts were not in vain. Despite the harassment from Alex, the trip to France ended up being a great success. After returning home, I would soon start my duties as the new president. I was excited about the challenges of the new days ahead. The excitement outweighed the anxiety. The diligent effort I had continued to put in gave me unwavering confidence. Now, let's talk about what happened to Alex after he ran out of the venue. Ultimately, he never showed up at the company again. He fled back alone and sent in his resignation to the company. He supposedly job hunted after quitting, but he failed every interview. His inherently high pride, which he could never let go, caused him to take a high-handed attitude during interviews. The only job he finally landed was a part-time job at a convenience store. However, Alex, who always pushed work onto others, was inefficient and made constant mistakes. Unable to endure being scolded by high school part-timers, he quit in a hurry. Unable to pay his rent, he was eventually evicted from his apartment. According to a subordinate, Alex was spotted living in a cardboard house in a park. When our eyes met, he approached with incredible speed, clinging and pleading, "Please, ask Brian. Ask President Sanders to hire me back." I had no intention whatsoever of rehiring someone who had caused so much harassment. Hearing this story, I couldn't help but be astounded. With Alex gone, the workplace atmosphere improved significantly. I had wanted to create a company where no one suffers from harassment, and now, there's no one here who would do such a thing. The fact that I didn't have to take Alex's matter too seriously was thanks to the support of my colleagues at the company. Such connections are a treasure that money can't buy. I vowed to cherish human relationships even more and become a president who can empathize with others' feelings. Although I take pride in my efforts, I am still a novice president. Without becoming arrogant, I intend to continue to strive for improvement.